At the beginning of the 19th century, the small rural settlement of Merthyr Tydfil in South Wales was going through a transformation like no other. This sparsely populated valley, where farming once was the main occupation, had changed beyond recognition by the discovery of vast deposits of iron ore, coal and limestone. Over the next century, the population of Merthyr Tydfil expanded from 7,000 to nearly 90,000. It became the biggest town in Wales and home to the largest ironworks in the world. By the 1820s, Merthyr was producing 40% of Britain's iron exports and was home to some of the earliest innovations in steam locomotives and iron bridges. This did not go unnoticed on the European mainland, and many travellers came to marvel at the home of industrial innovation and the town at the forefront of Europe's Industrial Revolution. The travellers wrote about their experiences, leaving us with an insight into the industrial life of Merthyr Tydfil.
Above the flaming chimneys of the blast furnaces, the heated air trembled and made the outlines of the mountains of dross behind them appear wavy. I could not help imagining these mountains of dross to be volcanoes, and the blast furnaces little burning craters. One could easily have believed what they have transferred to the blazing city of this, mentioned by Dante.
I had already been in bed a few hours when a flash of fire woke me with a start. I was about to cry out, "Fire!" But I reassured myself, and I remember that I was living in the land of forges that night.
In the evening light, the not quite extinguished slags gleam like glowing lava, raised up to towering heaps here and there on the outermost edge of tall mountains.
The rows of terraced housing provided homes for thousands of workers, but the cramped living conditions and poor sanitation led to disease and early deaths. Wages were low, working conditions appalling, and fatalities frequent.
The streets have not been swept or cleaned. The muck and rubbish pile up in them. Black dust from coal smoke is spread over the building fronts and even on the faces of the people. In such a place, indifference and negligence, then destitution soon gain a foothold. What sickening poverty! Good God! How is that there are people this destitute in a country that appears so rich, so industrialized?
The population of Merthyr Tydfil were the pioneers of the Industrial Revolution, the engine of the world's iron production. Alongside the men, women and children played an equal part in keeping the industries of the town running night and day.
The woman struck us with her gratefulness, I would almost say elegance, things we would hardly expect from a female miner. It would not have taken much to make her acceptable in every way, just a good wash with some Marseille soap.
Two of the greatest ironworks were Dowlais and Cyfarthfa. By the mid-19th century, Dowlais was the world's largest, under the ownership of John Josiah Guest. It employed over 8,000 people, its 18 furnaces producing over 88,000 tons of iron a year. Cyfarthfa was owned by the Crochet family, who built Cyfarthfa Castle overlooking their growing empire. These works were fueled by the vast mines and quarries of the surrounding area.
We were first conducted to the mines. The immense quantity of coal and iron produced by which rendered all this possible. In the last 5 weeks, 36,000 tons of coal have been dug out, and that all these coals are employed in the works.
The ironworks produced the highest quality iron, used for railway track, buildings and weapons.
We next passed to the hammering and rolling works, where just at the time a number of rails ordered for Russia were being made. With what extraordinary swiftness a bar of iron was made into a rail. The mass of white-hot metal was seized with tongues and dragged out of the fire to the hammerworks, and then to the several rollers placed at different distances from each other. Hardly 10 minutes were employed, and the rail lay on the ground, quite ready, but still red-hot. Whilst we were observing this process, we were surrounded by numbers of the black inhabitants of the works. We hardly knew where to step in order to avoid the sparks and the bars of red-hot iron. I congratulated myself on our return and having gained the open air unsinged.
From all these huge factories, the metal that enters in a state of mineral ore comes out as molded iron. Everything from bars or rods, round or square, sheets, strips, ribbons to rails. The factories never stop, day or night.
Throughout the late 18th and early 19th centuries, Merthyr Tydfil was at the forefront of Europe's industrial revolution. The town's ironworks, quarries and collieries provided employment for tens of thousands of workers and drove Wales's transition from a rural to an industrial economy. This played an integral part in the development of modern Wales, and this legacy still evident today.